Okay, so in the last session, we have looked at what are the UI policies and what are the UI actions, right? So in this class, we'll discuss about the data policy, and also let's work on one of the tasks for creating UI policies on the form and also adding the data policies to it. So in the last class, we have created UI policy for the catalog item, right? So let me show how you can create for any form. So let's take a change form. Take any change request. So here I'm taking any change which is in new state. So if you see, if I select normal, this state is getting read only. And if I select emergency, this is getting editable. And this is one of the functionality which they built using UI policies on the form. And similarly, if you see, let's do one thing. Instead of checking the existing functionality, I'll create one field to couple of fields here, and let's see how the UI policy works for that. Okay, so I'm just going to set this and configure design. Okay. So field type, I'll select the field type as choice and I'll put it here. So here I'll put change issue type. So this will be u underscore change underscore type. And I'll put three choices. Uh, simple choices like issue one, issue two, issue three. Okay. Okay. And I'll add one more field, which is basic string field. So I'll just place it right below this. I'll add three fields actually. So based on the option which is selected, it has to show that specific field. So go a little bit up and add one more field here. Okay, now, so this is issue one. So issue one, and similarly, let me move this to issue two. And finally, three. Okay, so now I'm just saving this functionality and these 3 to 4 new fields. If I go back to the form and just reload it, you should able to see those here. So now what I have to do is if I select issue one, only I have to see this one field. And if none is selected, I shouldn't see anything. So and if I select issue two, I have to see only two and based on that. And if I select issue one, let's also put a couple of things like let's make short description as mandatory. Okay, so that's our requirement. So to do that, I will configure. So we have uh, all here, so which where you can configure all the things which are part of the table. Like if I click on all, you can see what are the business rules, client scripts, dictionary entries like fields, overrides. So dictionary overrides, we'll explain that in later. And notifications. So which are the notifications written on change management, UI actions. access controls, and UI actions are, these are the UI actions: discuss, follow, implement, and all these buttons are nothing but UI actions. Access controls, which are nothing but operations: read, write, delete to specific roles. And UI policies, which we are going to create now, and data policies, and yeah, we are going to discuss that after this. And styles, if if the status of any field changes to any specific thing, it has to change the field color to green color or red color. So just like color coding for any specific fields. And view rules, so view rules are nothing but if this is a basic view, so you can add type of the view, and with specific to the view you can keep the fields on the form like this way. So by default we can use a default view. But you have different, like this is this pop-up view. Pop-up view is nothing but if someone tries to click on I, so this is called a pop-up view. And if you go to the default view, so you can see all the fields here. And there is one more thing here, which is called dictionary override. So which is nothing but currently this assignment group field, which is currently on the task table. So if you see here, it's on the task table. And if you want to add any condition to this assignment group, I just want to see assignment groups which are part of ITIL. So then instead of directly modifying that on the task table, you can have a specific override on based on the table. So on incident table, you can have one specific query. On problem table, you can have some specific query. And similarly, you can also have a specific query for change table as well. And that query something like this. So group type is null or type is ITIL. This currently condition works on complete task. But if you want this to happen on specific table, so you can write it. You can create one dictionary override, and you can override the default value, or you can override the reference qualifier, and you can put your existing value. So this will override this condition and display it. So now what we are going to do is create a UI policy to this. So UI policy show or hide issues issue one. So show or hide issue one based fields. So here you have to create a condition. So short description is what you are going to do and when to apply. When to apply, change issue type is you have to select issue one, and you just need to save it. So you have two options here. So one is you can write a script. So we can tell you how we can use the script during our scripting session. Now we are not going to do this. Let's do directly. So we have UI policy actions. So there is a difference between UI actions and UI policy actions. So UI actions are nothing but these buttons. UI policy actions are like the conditions for this UI policy. Like, let me show you here. If I click new, I have to select issue one. Yeah, one. JK. Yeah, here it is. So issue one. So I'm making it mandatory and visible as true, and read only. I don't need it, and clear the field value. So if someone modifies the above value in this change, go to the change request that I was opening. So if someone moves this to issue 2 or issue 3, this value needs to be cleared. So for that, I checked on clear the field value. Okay, and I'll submit this. And one more thing, we have to make description as mandatory for issue 1. So A, B, C, and D. Here it is. description and just making us mandatory. So once you do this, and you just need to reload the change form. So by default, you won't see issue one. So if you select issue one, then it will be populated and it will become mandatory. And some other UI action which is written on the change request, which is making the description as read only, and the order of that is higher. So that's the reason it didn't become mandatory. Now, what you guys have to do is create same four fields on problem table instead of change. So create it on problem table. Create three choices: issue one, issue two, and issue three, and write UI policy and UI actions for that. Okay, that is the first task. And let's discuss about the data policies as well. Okay. So now let me move into the data policies. So currently this UI policies, they are running on front end on browser. So these are like client type. And now currently which we are looking are data policies. These are running on the server side, which means these are working on the back end. This checks the data if the data is present inside the field or not. So let me take the change underscore request. So condition change issue type is issue one. Then I need to write issue one. So we only have read only and mandatory. So this will make mandatory for sure. And now I will disable this functionality here, and you will understand what is the difference. So here, if I'm filling issue one, and it is by default it is showing me star, so which is like a mandatory. So I will make this UI policy as inactive for this condition, and if I reload it, you should able to see all the three. And now if I select the data policy as this one and I'll save it. Now let me reload this form. So if I try to select issue one, it will automatically become mandatory. And also this will check if you hover over to this. So must be populated before submit. That is for mandatory. And if I won't do anything on that, it will automatically show me the error. So I will also put one more issue one, issue two, and issue three here. Issue three, read only true. Let me reload this form and leave the changes. So if I select issue one, you can see this is getting happen. And same thing, you can test it, but if you go on a list view for a change request, and if you put issue two, change issue type issue one, and change issue type here, and I'll move all this to up. So if I try to do change here, issue one, and if I try to make this change, you will get this exception, which is called data policy exception. So it won't let you to modify it. But because this is checking from the backend server side. And similarly, yeah, if you change this change type to issue one, it won't let you do this because, yeah, same thing. But I will make this inactive and make this active. Now, let me reload this. And if I try to change this issue to issue one, now this will get saved because this doesn't have any data validation. This works only on front end. So that's why if you open this, you will see that as mandatory, but on list view you can directly update it. So that's the main difference between UI policy and data policy. So data policy checks the data before form is getting submitted on the server side, but UI policy that checks only on the browser side, which is front end, like this. Okay. So now what you guys have to do is just in the same way, try to create it in problem table, create one problem. So just open any problem record which is in new state and add two to three fields like same how I have created here, and try to create UI policy, like try to create three UI policies. So if issue one is selected, it has to make issue one and description as mandatory. If you select issue two, it should make some service as mandatory and issue two field as mandatory. So something like that. So create those conditions and and let me know. So I'll be helping you guys if you stuck in somewhere. Okay. Do you guys have any doubts?
No.
Okay. Uh, what about you, Kedar, Hari? Any other questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Then yeah, just start building this functionality now. Let me continue the session. So till now, we have seen. And do anyone have any questions? By the way, first. So did you guys able to create UI policy? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. And what about the data policy?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me share my screen here and let me show you a few major differences which is mentioned in the documentation. And I will share this as well after the session. Here it is. I will share this link. So it has complete, which we have discussed about the data policy and UI policy. And there are a few other things which we need to discuss in the data policy. So the main differences between the data policy and UI policy are, if you see, so these are the list of criterias. So the first one is execute based on field values. So both will execute based on the field values. So if you select any field value, the next subsequent value will get either read only or mandatory or anything based on that. And data policies execute only when if we submit the form. So it checks the data on submission. So that's why it runs on server side. So, but UI policy doesn't execute on submit or save. So if you change the field, automatically you can see the output of it. And next one is execute on form field value change. So both can happen. But if there is a functionality in the data policy called use as UI policy on client, if you check this, then it will act as a UI policy. On front end, it will make it visible or it will hide the field. But if you uncheck this option and if you save it, And if you go to the list view of the table change requests, so you won't able to make that. So it will throw this data policy exception. So did you guys check this data policy exception without giving any values in the list view? If not, check that as well. So if I make this as issue one, so it won't make this mandatory because we have already selected that thing. So it won't make it mandatory, but it will in the back end during submission, it will check for the mandatory value of the issue one. And it does set mandatory attribute. Yes. It does set read only. Yes. Set visibility. Data policy doesn't have that. So only mandatory and read only. So it won't. And set a field attribute with no scripting. So yeah, you're not doing any scripting and you're making that say a field value attributes either read only or mandatory. And execute script for advanced logic. In data policy, you don't have that option, but in UI policy, you can execute the scripts if it is true, if it is false, based on the condition.
Anna, just a small doubt. Exactly why we use the clear the field value in the UI policies?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, see, if you have selected issue one and you have selected test, and if you go back to issue two, this field will become hidden, right? So, and again, if someone wants to change their mind and if they wants to come back for the issue one, I don't want this value to be set in the backend. So I want this value to be cleared. So if I change this to issue two, this value has to clear, and you should have an option to enter the value for issue two. And after saving, if you see in the XML, I mean, what are the field values which are present in this table, you shouldn't have the issue one because of the visibility issue. So if you clear that value, so even this value will be cleared. Hope you understood that.
Yeah, Anna. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, this is the main difference. And there is one more functionality in the data policy. So this one, like convert this to UI policy. So once you have a requirement to create a data policy, but they ask you to create a UI policy instead. So what you have to do is just click on that. That's it. So it will convert into UI policy. Visibility by default, it will make it as leave only, but you have an option to save this by giving the description, and you can also do the vice versa by converting this to the data policy. So this is one of the cool feature. Okay, so till now we have looked one more server side and one more client side. So I will provide the links today regarding what is the main difference between, as actually in the last session we have discussed server side versus client side. So here in server side, sorry, in client side, we have few other things as we discussed. So if you click on configure, we have the next one, which is called client scripts. So let me go to the client scripts. So if I click new here, so totally we have four types of client scripts. One is on cell edit. So you can see the function name here changes based on the type of the uh, on change, and you can select on which field I am setting that on cell edit. So on cell edit works on list view. So if I go to the history of this list, so if I want to edit this or not, I can make it read only from here, or based on this selection, whatever should happen on this values. So those all things I can manage it directly through on cell edit. And next one is on change. So just I will remove this and I'll change this to, I'll remove this and I'll change this to on change. So if you click on change, by default, this function will be populated. So on change, and you can see, so on change is similar to what we saw in the UI policy. So if you go to any one of the records here, And you can write on change of issue 1 this should happen, on change of issue 2 you can set the values, but here mostly the scripting is included in it, so we can go over those scripting parts during our scripting sessions. And next one is on load. So just remove this whole function and I'll just go back to on change and then I'll come back to on load. So by default if you remove this and so by default, if you click on submit, you will get this script populated function on script. And similarly, if I just change it to on load, you will get this function on load. And you can write scripts like g underscore form. So here in the server side, we use a method called g underscore form. So it has so many functionalities like you can add error message, add info message, clear options. Next, mostly like, and also you can set display value, set mandatory, set read only. You have bunch of functions which are under g underscore form. So these all will be part of during our sessions, but yeah, we can definitely check this out like set mandatory, and we can give the field name here like u underscore issue underscore type and make it as true. That's it. This will directly work when on load. By default, when the form loads, it will check for mandatory, whether the issue is mandatory or not. And also we can debug it by putting alerts. Hello world. And so we can just, for now, we can validate the alerts, check alert. Okay. And if you just reload this form, so by onloading, you can see this hello world will get populated. So this is how onload works. And similarly, if I change this to on change, so I'll just copy this piece and I'll remove this. And now I'm changing this to on change. So on change, I will select the field name to description. So if I change any value on the description, I will get the alert. So I'll go here and I will just reload it and test. So I just changed the value of the description and I got this alert, hello world. And similarly, one more is on submit. So first I have to clear this. Okay, on submit. Change. I'll change this to on submit. And now I'll just put alert. So now I will submit this form test, save, submit, or anything. So saving form to the server. So let me check if I'm making this active on submit. I'll put test 1, 2, 3. And if I update this, so you will get this error, this alert message as hello world. Yeah, these are the main types of the client scripts. So as an assignment, what you guys can do is go to this g underscore form and see what are the functionalities which we can do, like add option, clear option, add info message, error message. So you have those complete list of all functionalities which comes for the g underscore form. So if you come here, this is glide form. So mostly you don't need to mug up all these things, but you will just need to know what all are present. So just go over all this just for once and try to run them, check them, or just go over them and get to know what all functionalities you can do, so that based on the requirement, you should able to tell, okay, I think we have this kind of a function, like to make this action name mandatory, or to get the control name, or get the decimal value, and all these functionalities. So anything which is starting with g underscore form dot is it will work on client side. Okay, so this is client scripts, and we have couple of other things on the change. If I go to the change request, we go to the change request. Yeah, and client scripts is done, UI policies is done, UI actions. So UI actions are nothing but buttons. So let's go over few UI actions. So few UI actions we will get out of the box like this. We can use them, and there are few other as well, like save. Let me search for save here in the name. We do not have save in this one. Okay. We put change request show matching, and form action which is true. Okay, yeah, we have these close, cancel change, or copy change. So let's take few of the functionalities. So this is UI action, so which is like a buttons, form buttons. So we have options where this UI action should be visible from. So on form button, so if you select, if you check this, these buttons will be visible on the form, on the banner of the form. And similarly, we have form context menu. So form context menu is nothing but here, from save to analyze access. All these are like form context menu. And form link. So we have form link, which is nothing but related links. And we have list banner, list button, list context menu. So list is nothing but if you go to the list view of all the change requests, so you can select multiple values here, and you can see delete with preview, and these are the options. So you can have those values, have those functionality, have those buttons in this list view as well. So all these are here. List banner button is nothing but here like a new button. And yeah, and rest of them are like list choice, list link are similar. Like you can also have some data here, which are related to the list links and all those kind of things. And list style, you can make it primary, destructive, unstyled. We can go over, but this is unlike, like highly unlikely that we use these things. And active is nothing but just making this thing active. And here if you see on client, what happens if it is clicked, so what needs to happen on the front end, that functionality can be written using the client checkbox. So if you click on client, you will get all these functionalities. Mainly if you click on this, you can see on click what happens on clicking of that button. So you can set all those functionalities here, and you can activate this button in workspaces. So workspace, you guys know, like if you go to this view on change request, so from here you go to problem changes. So here, so you can also set those values from here: workspace form button, workspace form menu, configurable. And you can also set roles, to which specific role it has to be visible to. So yeah, these are the things completely for UI actions. And finally, we have business rules. So let me go to the business rules as well. So if I open any business rules which are on change table, so I'll click on change request. So actual start date, end date, or something like that. So business rule are like very crucial. This runs on a server side script, and here it is there is a definition. So a business rule is a server side script that runs when record is displayed, inserted, updated, deleted, or queried. So use business rules to automatically change the values in the form fields when specified and conditions are met. And these are like little bit complex, but these are like very most important interview question for all of you guys. So they're like vastly used, and also questions on these are like you can expect at least one questions on the business rules if it is a development interview. Let me open business rules. Yeah. So I will give you the reference document, but let me explain how it works. So when we have four options: before, after, async, display, and we have insert, update, delete, and query. So these are common for everything. But if you select before, when you when the record is inserted, like before the record gets inserted into the table, this business rule works, which is called before. And update is nothing but this update when you update the record on you, right? You know, right? Like if you save the record or something, so before saving, uh, this checks this script executes and it validates what functionalities you are trying to do. Like this is one of the example. You have given actual start date and you have given actual end date. So to check whether end date is end date, you are selecting after the start date. You are not selecting any end date before the start date. Like today is July 14th or July 14th, 24th, and you are selecting actual end date as July 12th or 13th, then it shouldn't accept. It should throw an error. So to do that kind of things, we use business rules. And there is one more business rule, like um, auto populate close code, calculate risk. So just want to check during user inputs or during user inputs the value. So that works before. And after business rule is after you have inserted the record or after you update the record, it validates whether you have entered the right value or not. To do those kind of validations, you can use business rules or to assign or to create a new task in the different table. Once a change is created, I want to create a change task after that. So automatically. So that how you will know? So you will know only after change is created, right? So that's why you can use after. And the third one is async. So this will happen parallelly. So if something is getting happened and at the same time, it should also get triggered. So if you want to use that kind of functionality, then you can use async. And finally, we can have display business rule. So display business rule is just for displaying on the form, right? Yeah, like yeah, G underscore scratch pad. That you will understand during the coding sessions. Okay, this is just a basic, but we will go much more deeper, very deeper, also by exploring so many tasks on it. And this is just a basic overview which I'm giving it right now. But yeah, so we'll dig deep dive, and we'll work on all of this in our coming sessions. So this is just a basic what are the things on the form you will have and what you can expect from the coming sessions. So just now we did only UI policies and UI actions, but in coming classes we are going to work on security rules, business rules, all types of business rules, client scripts, and I think notifications is done. Dictionary where we have created fields, so this is done. So these things we are going to cover, and also in the coming sessions we are going to cover. Let me take a notepad here. Notes, note. Let me take a new Word document instead. So things we have to cover. Rules, client scripts. So let me share the screen properly. So things we are left with: business rules, client scripts, ACLs, import sets, transform maps, uh, and integrations, transform maps, API integrations, email scripts, inbound email actions, and what else we can cover? Yeah, scripting locations like schedule jobs, fix scripts, yeah, background scripts, and what else we have? Yeah, UI actions. Yeah, UI actions is one of the thing. And complete ITSM module lifecycle, reports and dashboards, and what else we have? Yeah, and some other modules, some other modules like basic modules, performance analytics, virtual agent, the basics of HRSD, basics. Next, CSM. CSM is nothing but customer service management. We're going to have class on mid servers, ITOM basics, discovery, service mapping, orchestration. So these are like completely basics, but mostly this can be learned directly on the job, because if you know all this, so this is very easy. So at least you should know mid servers and basics of ITOM. So yeah, most likely, if we get through until here, I think we can say you should be able to ready for taking any kind of interviews. And yeah, I'll add one more script includes here. These are completely coding sessions, which we are going to do. So to do that, sorry, yeah, to do this, we need JavaScript basics. So one session we can have one JavaScript basics or JavaScript fundamentals, which can help you to do all these things. And in JavaScript fundamentals, mainly we have to focus on arrays. I will give that arrays, objects, and functions. These are the main things which we are going to do, and parts of regular expressions if needed. So, and basic what we call string types, and all those things. String manipulations. So these are the things which you can expect in the coming days. In the next class, most likely we can discuss on JavaScript fundamentals, and in the weekend we can do tasks around all this business rules, client scripts, UI actions. And from next week, we are going to have each and everything, like import sets in the weekdays and big topics on weekends, because it takes much time, and small topics we can cover it on our like weekday sessions, and on weekend we cover major topics. Okay, any questions till now?
No, Havi.
Yeah, Hari, Kedar, Siri,
No,
Harika.
Not as of right now.
Okay,
And
so
message if you have any.
yeah, let me send all those documents here, and yeah, stay through and try to complete and finish this journey, and let's become ServiceNow Pro developers. So only think one thing, if you are all Kalki fans, why we are doing, just only for one thing, Repati kosam. Okay. Okay, thank you everyone. I will share everything in the group.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Havi.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anna.
Yeah, thank you.